I heard talking in the empty classroom. Hey, it's me, the kid that sees ghosts. I heard one today. This is the weirdest story I've ever written. Let's begin with my school is not haunted. I have seen a ghost outside the building, like in the soccer field, but I never actually seen one in the school. I did hear one though. I was early for my math class, and my teacher asked me to bring a textbook to a teacher downstairs. I said sure. I walked down the steps, went down the hallway, and I saw three of my friends in a classroom. I said a quick hello, and they said hi back, and they went back to talking. I gave the other teacher the textbook, and I had a couple minutes until the bell rang, so I stopped by that classroom with my friends again to talk. But when I got to the classroom, there was no one in there. My friends weren't there, but I heard their voices. I knew it was their voices, and I knew I saw them before in the same classroom. I said in a very soft voice, "Is there anyone in here?" The talking stopped, and there was no reply. I asked again, no answer. I asked one more time, and a book went flying towards me. I moved out of the classroom. I quickly went back to my class and was breathing like I couldn't breathe at all. No one really noticed. After that day, I never went near that classroom again. I've never heard of our school being infested with ghosts, and I've never heard of a classroom being haunted either. Do ghosts really take the shape of people? The classroom entity in a black cloak. I don't know how this happened without my classmates knowing, but I will tell what happened. It started in 7th grade when I first started seeing things like that. I was in my class during our lunch hour around March 14th to 16th. I was in my class eating when it started to rain outside, so we stayed inside our class for lunch recess, as well as me and my friend Nicholas were sitting face to face on our desks. Then, all of a sudden, I felt like time stopped, because through my eyes no one moved or talked, and the clock didn't move either. Then, I looked straight ahead, and behind Nicholas, I saw a giant thing in a black cloak. I was shocked, and it was like the back of my class broke off and disappeared, and it was like he was in front of the top of a tornado. He came closer to Nick, and he raised his fist. Then I blinked, and I jumped at Nicholas and pushed him off his desk, and he fell onto the floor, still not moving. Then I felt a cold fist on my back and my head. Then I blinked and it was gone. It was so creepy and scary, and since then, I can see and hear strange things. My friends think it's a guardian angel. I think different. Thanks for listening, and believe what you want, but only I know the truth. A music-loving ghost in the classroom. My first year of teaching, I got a job as a 3rd grade teacher at an elementary school near Seattle, Washington. When I first entered my classroom to set it up for the first day of school, I got a strong, unsettling feeling, and while I'm highly intuitive and have experienced odd occurrences in the past, I ignored it and played it off as a new teacher nerves. I had a lot of students with ADHD who were energetic, so someone suggested that I play relaxing music to settle them down. We had just begun a Native American unit, so I brought my CD player in along with CDs of soft Native American flute music. The kids loved it and would play it during the quiet reading time. One day, during math centers, the Native American music started playing. I saw one of my troublemaking boys near the CD player and asked him to please not touch my CD player again. He looked at me and said, "I didn't touch it. It went off by itself." Of course, I know his track record, so I simply said, "Please, tell me the truth." He said he never touched it, so I turned it off and told him never to turn it on unless I asked. The following day, during social studies, the kids were sitting at their desk, reading quietly when suddenly, the CD player went off again. This time no one was near it. I knew none of the students had gotten up, so I went over and turned it off. Of course, my students were all curious and wanted to know why it went off by itself. Then, the kid I had accused of turning it on the previous day said, "See? I told you it wasn't me." A few days later, during writing, it went off again. Except this time, it was the radio that went off. I had never switched it to radio, and the CD and radio player was out of students' reach. The students by this time got really freaked out and started saying that the CD player was haunted. I said no, I've had the CD player for a few years, and it's never gone off by itself like that. I really didn't know why it was doing that. I finally disconnected the CD player and connected only when I wanted to use it, although at times I would forget, and again, it would go on by itself. One day during recess, I was getting my mail, and when I returned to my room, the vice principal was in my room and talking to someone. I just assumed it was a student, but when I walked in, I saw no one. When she saw me walk in, she looked shocked and told me she thought I was in the coat closet because she had heard someone walking around back there. I figured a student had run back in to get a coat, so I went back and said, "Come on, get your coat and head out to recess." Only, the coat closet was empty. The VP said she was positive she heard someone walking back there. We were both creeped out. One weekend, I was doing some work in my classroom and was by myself in the building. I went to the copy room, and when I returned, the CD player was on playing the Native American music. I felt really uneasy, but had a lot of work to do and couldn't leave at the moment. Then, I saw someone walk past my classroom very fast. The classroom was near the front door and did not hear anyone walk in. The doors were also locked on the weekend for security reasons. Normally, when another teacher arrived after hours, they would let whoever was in the building know that they were there. I looked down the hallway but saw no one, so I just said, "Hello? Is anyone there?" Silence. About 15 minutes later, I went to take some artwork down from the walls, and out of the corner of my eye, saw something that looked like a shadowy figure come out through the kindergarten room and run up or fly actually up the stairs at the end of the hall. I curiously walked down to the kinder room, but it was locked and no one was there, and I never heard the door open or close. By this time, I was really freaked out and decided to leave. A few weeks later, I was alone in my classroom on a weekend again, and this time turned the CD player on myself. And I think even said out loud, "See, I beat you to it." I went to make some copies and saw someone run past the copy room and down the hallway. I went to the door of the copy room, looked down the hall, and saw no one. So I just said once again, "Hell, is anyone there?" Nothing. As I was heading back to my classroom, I suddenly heard this really loud pounding coming from upstairs. It was almost as though someone had a hammer and was hitting the floor with it. It scared me, and I dropped all of my copies. The noise came from the 4th grade room above me, but knew that the 4th grade teacher had gone out town for the week. I said a prayer and felt brave enough to go upstairs to see what was going on. The upstairs was dark, so I turned the light on and started saying, "Hello, is anyone there?" I stopped by the 4th grade class and the library across the hall, but they were both dark. No one was there. As were the rest of the classrooms on that floor. I headed back downstairs to my classroom, and the minute I stepped back in, I heard the pounding again, this time even louder. At that point, I left as fast as I could. When I got outside, I looked up the roof and around to make sure there wasn't any construction or maintenance people there. There weren't. I mentioned the incident to another teacher, and he told me that, while he never heard pounding before, he had seen something run down the hall after school hours. The VP also got in the conversation and told me not to talk about it anymore because she didn't want the kids to get frightened. I stopped coming in on the weekends and started getting good about disconnecting my CD player, but on a few occasions, my students would complain that something pulled their hair or touched their face. At the end of the school year, I got a job offer in another city and another district. so I left. At my new school, I took my same CD player to my class, and again used it to play music to my students. Not once did the CD player go off by itself at the new school, and it's never gone off by itself since. Whatever made it turn on by itself was at that first school. I don't know what was roaming the halls of my old school, and I don't think I want to. Whatever it was, it liked music. The city had a lot of Native American history, but I don't know what type of land the school was built on or if any students or teachers passed away there in the past. The school was built in the early 1960s, and the gym is in a separate building across the street.